Okay, thank you, Robert. With you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for coming, everybody. It's just, I was just sort of peering into the screen and looking at this extraordinary sort of tapestry of beautiful smiling faces, and recalling, you know, talking to you all over the months. It's just amazing to see us all together online at once at the beginning of what I'm really hoping is going to be a very meaningful time together. I think the work you're all doing and the program that the work we can do together could realize real change in the world. It'll certainly teach us a lot. So it's just so lovely to see you all here. I certainly do hope that David could make it. He's in Oxford doing a special presentation, and I was speaking to him earlier today, and they were very keen to try and find a restaurant or a stop somewhere on the train so that they could join us. And so he's very keen to be here. And if he doesn't make it, we'll certainly come to the next event, because as you all know him well. He's a great inspiration for all of us. And in many ways, this program that we're embarked on together was his inspiration. So let's hope that he can make it to share the moment and the excitement. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Robert. Today, so before we start our meeting, and we're waiting because I'm getting some information from Mila, who is with him at this moment. So I think we are managing, maybe he's coming in a few minutes. But before that, it's the first time we're gonna have the chance to introduce all of you to each other. So Marcelo, can you help me opening the presentation, please? And then we're going to have an opportunity to honor all of you and saying a few words of each organization, so everyone can know a little bit before we have the opportunity to have a little small rooms with each other, and then we can get to know a little bit more. Is it okay? Just a second. Marcelo? Let me see if I can open it. Can you open?
Vocês me ouvem? Eu estou no modo português. É isso?
Sim. Você consegue...
correto?
Sim. Você consegue fazer o compartilhamento da apresentação das organizações?
Consigo. Consigo, sim.
Okay. So one thing that we would like to share about this time that we're here is actually to have this time for promoting opportunities for networking among all the organizations, share learning and provision of support. And also we would like to get all the information that we can to exchange any doubts. And also it's going to be probably the next future community cafes is a space where we can bring people to come and get to know the project if this is the case, of someone that would like to understand a little bit more what we're doing and who would like to be involved beyond our own organizations. So I would like to just say a little few words honoring Arca Latam. Here, I think we have Santiago and Pablo Reis, which the organization is responsible for comprehensive facilitation of changes process for a cultural evolutionary perspective through the articulation of large-scale conversations between high impact and actors. So good, welcome people from Arca Latam. Marcelo, next one. So the next, we are here for also with as Collabso, as we mentioned to you. So Marcelo and I, we are working Collabso, which we are an ecosystem of Brazilian organizations, individuals interested in rethinking their impact on the world through new forms of life and work linked to innovation, collaboration, and happiness. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. Next one. Marcelo? We have community conservation, who is here represented by Terry Allendorf. Each is an organization empowering local people to manage and conserve natural resources towards widespread global adoption of community based on conservation. And one of the projects is based in Peru, even though Terry is in the United States today. Right, Terry? Yes, good you're here. Next one. Conviver. It's an organization, a Brazilian organization, who is responsible for enhancing social responsibility and pro-social leadership in elementary school children in Brazil, which has a good team. Part of the team is here, so good to know. I think Bianca's here, Kendra is here, Josapha is here, right? Yes. So welcome to all of you. Next one, Marcelo. Co-school. Isn't he here? I think he's not made it yet. But when he comes, and he's based in Colombia. He's providing school leaders with an evidence-based, cost-effective, and scalable model for implementing characters in virtual education in their schools. He's also an American, but has an open heart that decided to live in Colombia. So he's also living in that country. Hopefully he's coming in and being here with us. Next one, Marcelo. Earth Regenerators. Joe Brewer's here, and it's an organization that is a gathering place for people who participate in the Design Institute for Regenerating Earth, now based in many areas in Colombia. One Pencil, a collaboration of scientists, philanthropists, and educators to understand fundamental questions about the way children learn, while simultaneously providing critical support to the communities they study. So thank you so much, Helen and Jason, for being here. Even though the projects are based in Bolivia, today you guys are in Africa, right? Thank you so much for being here. I think yes, they're here. OPAL, it's an observatory of psychology in Latin America that offers up-to-date, objective, and reliable information on different areas of psychology in Latin America. Here represented by Herman Gutierrez and Beatriz Robayo. So thank you so much for your presence. And they are based in Colombia. Positive Design, it's an organization that is promoting gratitude and well-being in schools from children's points of view. And here's the representative is Sonia Carrillo Avila. Welcome and good to you're here, Sonia, also from Colombia. We have the University of Guggenheim representing projects in Latin America in collaboration with Earth Regenerators, who is Lina Moyaga Duarte, Ricardo Vargas Carpintero, who are here. So thank you so much coming so late, because we know Stuttgart, even though they're based in Stuttgart, they're representing projects, and also they're from Colombia, right? Yes. And also we have the World Vision, which is an organization responsible in building character in youth through game-based solution to a community challenge, and many other projects that is going to be important and he can be sharing, here represented by Marconi Meza Caballero, who is also one of the sponsors of this community cafe, and he's based in Honduras. Is this the last one, Marcelo? So I would like to just thank everyone and give you warm thanks, and also because those are amazing organizations and projects. And I think now we would like to have a couple of minutes so you can have opportunity to meet someone who is going to be in another organization. So not just have ourselves the privilege to be, but also you can have a couple of minutes in a breakout room, and then we can have this time to share, talk, and have a little bit about the experience. Marconi, just help me out. Can I do the breakout rooms, or can I? I can. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 20.
So how long have we got, Michelle?
Can we have I'm gonna try to put just 2 people in each room, but the ones who have 2 in the same screen, we're gonna have to squeeze. Can we have at least 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully everybody's gonna be in different rooms. Let's see if the Zoom can help me with that today. I think it's made it. So I'm gonna give you 7 minutes to come back and just introduce yourself, make a question why you're here, why this is important. What is actually one question? If you would like to introduce yourself and your project, what actually guides you to do what you do? and invite the person next that's gonna be in the same room with you to share the same one. Okay, so we're gonna have 7 minutes and I see you in a few minutes. Paul, are you gonna move and you're gonna be in one of the rooms? Yes. Yes. Pablo? Yes. Okay, let me see. Marconi, can you go?
¿Cuál? Which
Can-
room?
10.
I can join whatever. Puedo unirme a cualquier grupo, no sé a cuál.
10.
Al 10.
Room, yes. Room 10, porque solo tengo Lorenza.
Nice.
¿Conoces la? No. Okay.
10 more minutes.
Yeah, so now they're coming back. They still have a
Okay,
couple of
Marconi.
minutes, a few seconds, right? So I think
Santiago,
Rocio.
Hi
Rocio.
there.
Hello, everyone.
Hi David.
hold
Hello.
on, David. Hold on, they're coming. They still have a couple of few seconds. They're keeping the time.
La Santi.
¿Cómo van?
Hi, Robert.
Hey, David.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Hola.
Hola. Hold on,
Hola.
they're still coming. They're still
More coming?
coming. They're more
Coming?
coming.
Many
Yeah,
of you.
they're more coming.
Sonia. Hello,
Hello.
Sonia. Just got an email from you. Joe Brewer. Wow.
Joe.
Hi, David. Hi, Milan. Good to see you
Hi,
guys.
David. Nice to see you.
Herman, hello. Marcelo.
Hello, David. Hi, Mila.
Hello, David. Hello,
Good to see
Mila.
you both.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, Paul and Robert.
You
Right.
made it.
Mustafa, hello.
Yes, I think we're all here now.
Okay. Okay, well, thank you. It's so nice to see you and to be with you for even if only briefly. And I'm trying to think of what I want to say. Now, let me tell you a little bit, just the event that took place today. Actually, there were two events. As I think you know, I wrote a paper with my German colleague, Dennis Snower, titled Rethinking the Theoretical Foundation of Economics. And he's in Germany, in Hamburg, and I'm in Oxford, and we both gave separate talks, and then we joined by Zoom. So Dennis talked to his colleagues in Hamburg, and I in INET, and it was very interesting. I think that paradigmatic change is in progress, not just for economics, but in general for all forms of cultural evolution. And a big message in both cases was that we can't just theorize about this. We really have to work in real world settings to basically steward cultural evolution. And of course, it was this project, your project, that I pointed to as the kind of thing that should be done more often. And so I really think that what's going on with you, with us, is a bold experiment in conscious cultural evolution. I want to thank you so much for taking part. I hope it's rewarding. And I think that I look forward to seeing what's happening right now, what will happen with the sense-making event that's taking place. And I hope to be present for all of that. And then to expand and to take it to scale. I hope that we can, and I've been talking to Robert about this, to basically think of what more do we need, and to then get to some kind of next level. The idea that we want to put art into this, storytelling, I think is something that is beginning to happen with Nick Lunch, who might have been introduced to some of you. And so it's just a thrill, basically, to be working with you and to have your talents. And thanks especially to Michelle and Marcelo for the wonderful role that you're that you're playing. So thanks to all of you. I guess I want to shout out to Joe because I think that he is really spreading this in his own system, and so there can be nothing more pleasurable than actually to have somebody's ideas being taken forward by really capable people in their own ways, varying it, adapting it. So that's conscious cultural evolution, and I'd like to think that we are doing it.
Thanks. Thank you, David. And just David, I'm curious. What I mean, you actually were inspired to write the bid that's allowed us to come together to do this. What's in your heart? That's at the core of your inspiration and drive?
Oh, if you think that cultural change is possible, if you convince yourself that that actually you can make things better at a large scale, what could be more motivating than that? I know that's a simple answer, but I think that that's what the pro-social impulse is, of course, the impulse to make things better at scale, small or large, and to think that there's some general way to do this and that it can be scientifically validated and then it could actually take place. I mean, another point I made is this idea of catalysis, the idea that the rate of something like a chemical reaction or a cultural change is not fixed. It's not the case that cultural evolution requires centuries or decades. Actually, it could take place in years. That's what catalysis is. And so when you think something like that is possible, well, of course you're passionate to do it. So my motive is very simple, really. I'm very lucky to be kind of secure in my life at this time of my life. So I don't have many personal needs or wants. And so therefore, this is what I want to do. And that's the basic pro-social orientation, I think, that we all have. Everyone, I think, has that to the degree that they can do it.
Yeah.
Anything to say about that? So I think that I want to let you guys get along with it, and I look forward to seeing you again during the sense-making event, and I am reachable. I mean, I was at most of the onboarding sessions and loved each and every one of them, and then I allowed the rest of the team to take over, but I look forward to coming back. Oh, and the one more thing is that this address I'm giving in this Brazilian conference is, I think, another opportunity to spread the word, basically. And so I hope that will be the talk that I'm giving, which is on groups as organisms, can be shared with this group. And it's another case, I think, with Herman especially and his Opal network, that one of the things that we could be doing is spreading this widely through social networks, including the psychology social networks in Latin America, as a way of propagating this. So let's have pro-sociality go viral. That's the good kind of going viral. And isn't that wonderful?
I also want to thank Robert for all the hard work he's done.
Absolutely.
Just everything.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a team effort. Believe me, it's been wonderful. And thank you. Thanks, David. I wonder if we should invite Paul to say something too, because he's been a massive inspiration with you, David. I mean, co-founding the organization. It's there's something about what we're embarking on here that I think is cutting the edge for pro-social world. Paul, do you want to say
Yes,
something?
thank you. Oh, yes, I'm delighted to. Thank you. Such a pleasure to see you all again. I guess I'm just wanting to echo David's words that for me, this project is a practical example of cultural evolution in action, and the combination of research and practice is hugely exciting to me. I'm also really looking forward to hearing the stories that emerge and seeing the process that we've designed together around sharing of stories and making of sense together come to fruition, because I really do feel, I mean, that question before about what guides me, I was thinking what really guides me is this sense of being able to build connection through dialogue and through stories. And I think this project is going to be a living example of that, and a real opportunity for us all to grow, for us all to learn and to grow. So thank you all so much for being here, and delighted to be part of the journey with you.
Great. Wonderful.
We have to
Okay,
leave
so
soon.
now we have a 2-hour drive before we get back to Neela's flat, and so but it was a pleasure to be with you, and then we will see each other again soon. So thanks, everybody. Enjoy yourselves. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye, baby.
Bye.
So it
Michelle,
was
you're-
good. Yeah, it's always good to have David to come and let us know and share about a little bit about his aspiration of doing all this. Very hardworking man coming and bringing all this content and believing truly that it's possible to do this change in this evolutionary conscience in some aspects. And I feel very fortunate to be part of this program. So Robert, would you like, today we're gonna have a couple of basic information. So now also, if you have any questions, more than the ones that we tried to share with them from the moment that we had together. And then Robert and Paul, they're gonna have the chance to explain a little bit more about the journey that we're gonna have together, the structure, a little bit of the timelines, and we're gonna have some space for Q&As, right, Robert?
That's right. Yeah, thanks, Michelle.
Okay, it's with you.
Yeah, thanks. I'll share the screen, and I wonder if can I get permissions to drop this document in the chat? It's been emailed to everybody. It'd be good to share it now as well. I can't drop it in the chat, but anyway, I shall share screen. During our onboarding conversations, we spoke very briefly about the broad design of the program, which was to make sense of the challenges that we're facing, but in terms of critical factors, and then embark on a learning journey, a series of action labs, and finish off with a celebration. So this flow chart provides a sketch of that journey. And what we're looking to do is, I mean, there's a huge amount of expertise online at the moment. And one of the things that we're hoping to do is create a space where we can, there's a lot of cross-pollination, where we can learn from each other and support each other. And so in one way, these cycle of activities are like a container that we hope will allow us to not only do meaningful work through our own endeavors, but also support each other where there's an alignment and an interest. But broadly, this is the program. So in 2 weeks' time, you've already received an invitation to come together for a collaborative sense-making event. And hopefully you've all received a document, which is an attempt to summarize the critical factors as we heard them when we spoke during the onboarding conversation. There are about 8 of them, and they range from the impact of the consumer addictive exploitative economy that we're all subject to, right through to the deep inner work that's required in order to catalyze social change. There was many of us spoke about the need for a different cultural scaffolding, and particularly the need to revive cultural heritages, as well as very practical needs to do with resources and the desire to research, to to create a language in which we can share each other. So at this sense-making event, what we want to do is come together and visit the summary of the interviews, that the conversation we've had to date, and I guess come to a shared sense of agreement. Yes, these are the factors. If we can impact on these together over these next 6 months, and then again in another cycle next year, then we will have realized some significant change that could evolve to create a new world for us in 10 years' time. So that's on the 31st of May. And then every 2 weeks after that, there'll be an event. These will go for about 3 hours. And the first part will be a webinar that'll go for about an hour. And then the second part, after a break, will be a space in which we can work together as a community to unpack what it is that we're focusing on. The first one is participatory video. So we want to go on a journey where folk from each of your respective organizations actually captures the story of your journey. And at the sense-making event, we'll talk more about that. But David just mentioned Nick Lunch. He's from an organization called Insight Share, and they train people to do participatory video. And so the question will be, is there someone particularly, and someone who's really enthusiastic from your community who would like to become custodians of capturing the story on video and work with someone from Insight Share to edit this together? So we've got some professional, like a mini documentary, I guess, at the end of this process. And so we're hoping to capture a story within each institution about significant change, but also to then synthesize those to try and illustrate this is what's required at a collective level to realize broad change. Then 2 weeks after that, in June, we're going to look at self-development. This is where we want to do a deep dive into the inner change that we've all spoken to, and respond to what's needed spiritually, mentally, and physically in order to do the deep work that's required for human transformation. Then we're going to do a system analysis. This is where we'll take time to consider how these broad factors are actually playing out within your own space, within your own organizations and your own endeavors, so that we can position a small project to impact those factors. Once we've got clear on them, we're going to do a trend analysis and look at how they could evolve over the next 10 years in a positive and negative direction. After that, well, I know, having done this many times before, that by this time, many opportunities will be occurring to you to innovate. And once those opportunities start to emerge, we'll start to qualify whether they're going to really work or not, particularly through the lens of the core design principles. Like, what will it look like if we're truly equitable and we're making decisions together so that every decision considers the needs of everyone who's going to be impacted by that decision? And you know, are we employing restorative approaches when there's competing commitments and conflict? Are we restoring health and well-being? And also, are we operating at a organizational level, polycentric governance level, where we're really getting on with each other? And once we've done all that, we'll have qualified these opportunities to make sure that they are fit for purpose and also fit for capability. Then we'll go into a series of action learning cycles, of 4 to 6 action learning cycles. And we'll continue to meet every 2 weeks, where each organization will carry out their own little project. And during all this, we want to research the impact. Some of you are already researching in your classrooms and your communities, and we want to fold those methods in. But we also want to take measures of psychological flexibility and the implementation of CDPs, but we also want to measure through stories of significant change with participative video. So at the beginning, we'll capture videos on what are the factors we want to impact on. Then at this stage, we'll capture on video, and these are the opportunities you've got to impact the factors. Then at the end, we'll come together to celebrate what we've learned and but also to profile and to showcase the stories of significant change to others. And this will be chapter 3 in the documentary, where we want to make it broadly known. This is what's required if we're going to realize the change we want. And in parallel with that, there'll be these community cafes. Today's the inaugural cafe. So periodically, there'll be meetings scheduled in which guest speakers could present. We could share the stories we've captured so far on video, or how questions that we've got about the factors we want to impact. David could come back. Any particular project that you're working on. For example, even now, I've just had a few people in the chat message me about significant projects they're working on. So you can, we want, Michelle and Marcelo particularly will be hosting these events. And they'll be to create a space in which connection and learning can actually happen in parallel with these cycles. And once we've done this, next year, I mean, the whole project closes out in about August next year. So the aim is to repeat this cycle again next year, but involve more people across the whole system, particularly those that you want to share what you've learned with. So it's already starting to evolve second time round. So that's broadly the program. And you should have received this document already. This summarizes the conversations, the thematic analysis of all the interviews, and names the factors. The established institution is not working and has to change. There is a need for deep inner work, the source of cultural and institutional transformation. We've talked about cultural scaffolding and practices are required to reclaim a diverse commons, niches for social change and true collaboration. Another factor we've talked about is a more adaptive approach to dealing with complexity, and systemic change is required. We've also talked about the need for community processes for environmental conversation. These need to be co-created. There is a crisis of perception and a need to develop a common language. We've also talked about the need for research and the need to capture stories of significant change through our collaborative efforts. And finally, we've talked about the need for funding, resourcing, and enabling technology. So they're the impacts, the factors we're hoping to impact through this program, provided at the sense-making event we agree, yes, they're them. And then the hope is that we will make sense of our world, we will experiment and respond to them, and make a difference. So that's the program in a nutshell. If anyone has any questions or comments. Did it make sense?
I have a question. At what point do we have to work or plan our project?
That's, yeah. So Jermaine, that will be built in. So as we're making the inquiries into the factors, I mean, the small groups that'll come to these each of these cycles, and you're welcome to invite others from your organization, by the way. You don't have to limit it to yourself. So if you've got key people in your institutions who you think would like to go on this journey, please bring them along. But Jermaine, what we'll do is we'll ask, okay, what are the factors and how are they playing out in our own backyard? For example, you know, I've started this conversation with Michelle and Marcelo, and they're interested in working with communities of women. And for example, you're working with young people in school. So you might ask, okay, so how are these particular factors impacting teachers and our school students? And if these factors tracked in a positive direction, what it would look like. So we'll be encouraging you to have exactly that conversation with your people and your community, and making sense of them of an opportunity to respond and work together. So by the time we've got to phase 6 or 7, where will choose the best opportunity for learning and growing, we'll have qualified that. And so the aim there is to not set anyone up to fail. I mean, this is based on work I've done doing innovation road mapping, throughout Africa and Asia and into Vietnam and Australia. And one of the big lessons I've learned is it's one thing to get excited about realizing a vision, but it's another thing to ask yourself, are we capable of doing this? And so we'll be taking a lot of time together asking what are the capabilities that are required for us to truly collaborate and revive the commons and reclaim our deep sense of common humanity. And when we've agreed on that as a community, we'll say, okay, so let's try these little experiments and see what works. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you.
How are you all feeling? Can you give me some kind of an emoji to give me a sense of whether you're thumbs up, thumbs down, you're excited, confused? That's good. See, I'm actually, believe it or not, inside I'm quite fragile, really. I need a lot of positive reinforcement. So I need to know that, that what I'm doing is actually making sense. Yeah, no, that's lovely. And listen, you're very, very welcome to, I mean, this is the launch of an ambitious program. And Paul and I and Michelle and Marcelo, and we're jumping in the deep end with you. I mean, all we're doing is learning what we've learned. And I'm really looking forward to learning from what you folk are doing. I mean, already you've inspired me enormously by what you're doing. Just extraordinary work. Joe, your work with regenerating the environment, and Germaine, your work with kids, who are stepping up in classrooms, and others, who are working with women, and it's just amazing. And my prayer and my wish is that by the end of this project, we'll have a very powerful message that can be communicated to the rest of the world about what's required to respond to the most intractable problems we've ever faced as a species.
Robert, I don't want you to think that us being quiet is that we're not engaged. I think it's just such a big project, like you said, and we're all here and we're excited and we're listening. I want you to know that we're all engaged. It's just, like you said, it's a big project. It's very exciting. And it's such a new frontier that I think a lot of us are just, sitting on the edge of our seats trying to figure out what the next step is. And so I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Thanks, Helen. I really appreciate that. So when we come together for the sense-making event in 2 weeks' time, we'll have 3 hours. We'll have time to really talk. Ricardo and Lena, you had a question?
Yeah, Robert, no, I just want to thank you and all project managers for organizing such a great journey. So I find it super interesting to see how the project is thought to start from an individual level and scaling up the impact to a collective level, so to say. So I'm pretty excited to see these steps in the journeys, such as the pro-social governance. So I'm pretty looking forward what it's this about, and also to be part of this system analysis and to identify together all these critical factors for positive change. So pretty much looking forward to next steps. Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate also these community cafes spaces, because I think it makes sense to also know each other in more like in an informal way, let's say, but also have a space where we can just ask questions or comments or share our fears or these moments of success that we could have, or so that I just find this space really, really cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ricardo and Lena. And I'm really looking forward to not just you know, creating a space where we can learn and share our fears and successes, but where we can really learn to fall in love with each other in a much deeper way. You know, you'll hear me say it over and over again. I feel as though we've actually forgotten how to love each other on the planet. And if there's anything that I can do before I die that's going to help, it's that. Joe.
Yeah, I wanted to share a focus that I think is really important for all of us and ask how much interest there is to create it together and maybe form a particular group that focuses on it. And that is creating educational materials in Spanish and in Portuguese to really take the best ways that we've learned how to teach and practice pro-social. Because I've given 3 small workshops on the foundational pillars of pro-social in Spanish to a network of foundations here in Colombia. And I feel that one of the most important things that we've learned in our work at Earth Regenerators is that if part of the group knows pro-social, that's good. But if everyone in the group knows it together, it's transformational, because we have a shared language for understanding what it is that we're doing together. So I feel like there's a really important opportunity for us to create and share the best practices in teaching and learning as we use them across all of our different organizations. So I've already started developing some translations into Spanish, giving webinars on Eleanor Ostrom's core design principles, on the ACT matrix and contextual behavioral science, and on the different levels of cultural evolution that relate to the emergence of cooperation. And so I just want to invite this focus into Spanish and into Portuguese, and then from there into as many indigenous languages as we can, and to invite from them back to Spanish and Portuguese, but beginning, of course, with these colonizer languages. So I just wanted to invite that and see how much we can pull this together to cultivate this shared language and shared concepts as quickly as we can among us.
Yeah, absolutely. I can, that could be a really powerful output from this process. Yeah, thanks, Joe. Michelle.
Yes, thank you, Joe. I think this is really important. And also there's another thing that I would like to share. There is a space where we want to organize. I'm not sure, I have to talk with Robert and Paul, but then we're going to be sharing with you, which is going to be the platform. Probably is going to be high-low, I think, right, Paul, right, Robert? Where we actually can have a space where we can share and have documents and keep it up, everything open to our community here. And also to have this exchange that Joe just had mentioned. We are building up all this community, but also any suggestions you might have during the whole journey, we're open to receive and collect and gather. So we can actually sue this whole project together, because there's so many, like the only thing that I can say from my point and perspective here is just so many wonderful people in the same screen, which are making so many beautiful things, have learned and gathered so many different wisdom and journeys already, all separate, that if we can share with all this community the best way we can, then we can have this next level that we would like to do, not just with the content and the knowledge that we are having from Paul, from Robert, from David, but also you have the space open to also to come and share. That's why the community cafes are open for. So it's not just us coming and bringing the information how we're going to do, but also to have the space of exchange during the meetings, during the gathering, during the journey, because this is what actually is going to make us to develop the whole content and knowledge that can be offered to the whole world after, if we agree upon. So, yes.
Yeah, beautiful, Michelle. So if there's no final, so there's another question. Yes, Sonia. Sorry, can't hear.
No, it's not a question, but a comment. Let me take my hand down. I really love the thing about David was talking about the storytelling. And we have used this tool with kids in our project on gratitude. And it was just wonderful. I mean, we talked to teachers and parents, and the things they thought children think about gratitude were completely different. I mean, they thought fifth graders couldn't think about gratitude, or they had very simple ways of thinking about gratitude, maybe just say thanks. And when we were videotaping the kids speaking about their gratitude experiences, it was really a whole new world. So I work in the school setting with teachers and kids, so I can see a lot of opportunities just to go there and talk to them about what they think about pro-social world, and if it's the same as the experience we had with gratitude, it's going to be a new world. I mean, the kids gave us beautiful narratives, beautiful gratitude experiences. They talk about God, about nature, about parents and moms and beautiful things, just telling us a story about their birthday or their friendships. So I love that tool, just to explore what people think about something. So I am really excited just to bring this tool just for them to talk about pro-social. I think we are going to get very nice results.
Yeah, beautiful. So just to kind of reiterate what was said before, which is totally in line with what you're saying, Sonia, it's the organization Insight Share, they have a trainer in Mexico that we're hoping to contract, who will actually work with you. What the request is for you to handpick, ideally some young people who are great with tech, and we'll kit them out with the right kit, and we'll teach them how to take high quality videos and capture story that you can help curate throughout this program. And the idea is for all of us to curate a collective story about change. And so just take that away tonight and think about, is there someone in my organization who you'd like to say, would you like to be the video person? And we want to work to bring some funds to this and get a bit of gear for them. We wanted to put out a request to you organizations. Is there a chance that you'd like to co-sponsor this? And but we'll pick that up in correspondence between now and the sense making event. But please, I mean, our desire is to make that a major thread in the tapestry of this program. I'm hoping that at the end of this year, we've actually got some short documentaries that do exactly what you're saying, Sonia. Marcelo.
Well, I'm just wondering whether it's the moment of looking at the next step we are going to do together. That's about agreement and also stories, our own stories about our own organization. So I'd like to maybe to ask Robert to talk a bit about the factor analysis. And this is the main document, the main characteristic of the document Robert shared with us. And I think it's very important to put energy now from now on the next 2 weeks about that, because it's so important to have this agreement about what unites us, what is important for us, what we can make sense together about ourselves and our organization. So I'd like to ask Robert to tell us a bit about the factor analysis and the importance of putting energy from now on into our collaborative sense-making event.
Certainly, yeah. Thanks, Marcelo. The factor analysis, which turns into a trend analysis, has been there's kind of two aspects to the work that we're doing. You know, Paul and I have been involved in this work now for more than a decade, and there's two just really important aspects that have shown that if you get this right, you can actually consciously evolve things in a direction that works well. The first one is the deep inner work. You know, the need for us to become more psychologically flexible and to learn to actually show up in a way that is really self-determining, for us to know deep inside what's intrinsically important to us and to be able to choose to act on what's important, even in the face of difficulty. And I know that many of you would agree with me there. I mean, there's 4 institutions here who are working in the education sector who are centering their work on gratitude and positive psychology, which is very closely aligned. But also Joe, I mean, the work you're doing, I mean, you've demonstrated unambiguously that the need for deep inner work and for us to reclaim our common ground of being human and create a space for us to actually show up as whole human beings and able to give the gift that we're here to give to our communities. That's been the glue for me. The other thing is that if we're going to show up and do something, what is it that we want to do? And this is where the factor analysis comes in. And when Paul and I have worked around the world, in fact, we've taken time to ask, what are the cultural norms, and the systemic factors that have got us performing? And there's often a whole range of social, cultural issues. There's technological challenges. There's also environmental issues that are impacting all of us, which translate into health and food security issues, infrastructure challenges, typically. There's economic issues are always a challenge. There's also political, institutional factors that challenges. So there's these broad classes of things. And I'm sure we've all experienced this, no matter how much you work on yourself and empower yourself to be able to show up within the context of a relationship, whether it's your team at work or your family. If the culture of the team or the family or the institution is not, it doesn't nurture well-being, it's not open and pro-social and collaborative, it's actually punishing and punitive, then you can't win, can you? And so naming these systemic factors that have to be impacted within your own context is the other part. So we do a lot of work up front, naming those two things. What's the inner context that has to change and the outer context that has to change? And what I've seen over and over again is if groups can come together and say, yes, these are the things, if we could change those, if we could show up authentically ourselves, but also work together to impact these factors as they're happening for us in our classroom or in our village or in our organization, then change is possible. And so I'll just share the screen again, because this is the first really important conversation. The first, so you'll notice here, the collaborative sense-making event. This is where we'll be asking, are these the factors we want to impact on? Have we got this right? Because the outcome of this conversation is, I'm hoping that all of us at the end of in 2 weeks conversation say, yes, they are the factors, or they aren't the factors. These are the factors. So the output of this conversation is for us to say, yes, if we impact these as they're happening within our own environment, we will definitely change our world. And you'll notice the very next, after the participatory video session, the next one is personal development. This is the deep inner work. So those two things are up front. And so the factors work here, I mean, I read the headlines out before, but you'll notice underneath each of these, there are 4 dot points, 3 or 4 dot points. These are statements from the interviews. This is what you said to David and Paul and myself, during the onboarding conversations. And so what we've tried to do is summarize what you've said and give it back to you and say, you've all told us the same thing in some way or another. So for example, in relation to institutional systems, you've said the impact of colonialism and neo-colonialism on the economies within communities and territories, control over natural resources fueled by extractive productive models and a lack of regeneration, recognition of well-being and alternative ways of seeing life is really impacting us. So the invitation here is to just read these under each factor and see if you agree. Are these the critical and uncertain factors that have to change? And as you go through them, there's the summary is there. But at the end, there's 2 attachments to this document. You'll notice here, this is the first factor, but these are statements from each individual institution. So if you want to do a long read, you can read what each of you have all said about each of these factors. This is the way all of you describe them. Colonialism versus tradition and identity, or tribalism and short-termism is holding us back, or transactional versus collaborative relationships, decolonization, character strengths and academic skills. So these are the ways in which you've described it. That goes on to the second factor. And again, this is the need for the inner work. And this is how you've actually said it in your interviews. And if you keep going, you'll get to attachment 2. And here are all exactly the same dot points, but under each institution. So Akalatam, here's how you describe these factors. University of Oheim, here's how you describe these factors. Collab Sol, community conversation, primed for character education in public schools. So all of your words are here in this document. And so the invitation between now and we meet in 2 weeks is for you to acquaint yourself with his document, at least the bit up the front, the first 3 or 4 pages. And then prepare yourself to come together and to have a conversation about, yes, this is how we're experiencing this. And then we'll move to this, where you'll be asked to buddy up with someone else for the entire journey in the service of your inner work. So here we want this to be a buddy coaching relationship where 2 people will stay with each other and do the deep inner work.
Thank you, Robert.
So I hope that explains it.
Thank you so much. I just would like to emphasize the document was sent all in English, but we have the challenge to have translated into Portuguese and Spanish this week. So you might have also, if you have in your team, someone who would like to be attending this, this collaborative sense-making event and would like to have this opportunity in reading these documents in English and Spanish, we will be providing by the end of this week. And any suggestions or anything that you would have by the time you're reading in your native language, any suggestions and comments, please do send us, because this is being part of the whole journey for ourselves as well. Thank you.
Yeah. What we could do is just translate it through Google Translate. It's pretty good, I think. And send you out, you know, the 3 versions in Spanish, Portuguese, and English. And if you could read the Spanish and Portuguese with just knowing that it's been Google that's translated it, and it may not be the best translation, at least it's there. Would that be adequate? Yes, no?
Yasmin would like to say.
In this channel?
Yasmin? Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if you want to send it for the document. So Google Translate usually translate really good, but I don't know for Spanish, like Honduran Spanish. I can review it. You can send it to my email, so I can review it and help you with that.
Thank you so much, Yasmin.
Yeah, and I didn't catch any of that.
Oh, sorry. She said that she's going to be, are you hearing me or no?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes, because she had, I think Okay, she said that I can send it to her and she can help and assist us, because Yasmin has a beautiful story that I would like to share with you. She's a very young lady. Can I tell you your age? Are you 19 now? She's a 19 years old lady who's doing a very different way of living and studying. It's very unique. And also she comes from can I say it's a Hebrew family? She's born in Spain, but now she's living in Brazil. And she's really up for to come and bring and help us, because it's not easy to find people who actually can translate into 3 languages, Portuguese, English, and Spanish. Well, this young lady, she said, I'm up to it, because if this is the purpose of the project, I wanted to be in. So for me, it's a great pleasure to have a very young lady from Brazil. I can consider you a Brazilian, okay? Because her heart is Brazilian. And then to be promoting and getting contact with this type of project so young, so she can bring that. And she's really involved in dance and art in so many different aspects that it's amazing to come and bring. So thank you so much, Yasmin, for bringing this. And she's been doing this for many different and unique projects. So thank you so much.
Beautiful. Thank you. Marcelo.
Yes, I'd like to invite all of you to prepare with Michelle and I the next community cafes, because this is a proper space for us to build our community, but also to include other people that we want to be close, but maybe they're not going to be with us all the journey, but it's very important to build up this space beyond us, but it's also our space. So I'd like to invite you to join us in that preparation. We started this idea inviting Marconi Messa with us from Collabso to have a sort of conversation between 2 organizations, so we can promote that in the next community cafe. But also other ideas are also welcome. So we want to do many things in community cafes, not just in that structure we are doing now. So we are totally open for ideas. So help us with the next community cafe, but we haven't got still a schedule. Do we, Michelle? Help me with that. Not yet. Okay. So it's open to share, to discuss. So I think it's great. It's a great space, more informal, and we can experiment different things, including art and other expressions of Latin America. So feel free to use that space. Yes, Marconi.
Okay, no, thank you for the time, for coordinating all the meeting. It's a pleasure to be here, and I want to take a screenshot, and in this case to have the first meeting. And if you want, colleagues, please turn on your cam and let's take a screenshot. Okay, smile, and 1, 2, 3. Okay.
You might have to do it again. Paul wasn't online.
Okay, well, the last one. Okay, let's see. Let's wait to Josefa, or let me see. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, thank you, my friends. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Marconi.
Yeah, go ahead, Michelle.
There's a couple of agreements, if it's okay, Robert. We have scheduled our gatherings and meetings every 2 weeks. So it's going to be the same time on Tuesdays. I think you might have received all the calendar. If for some reason you have any challenges, please let us know. It will be very important to have the key people of each organization, or each organization at least have representatives to be present in those meetings. At the same time, there is one thing, we're going to start the learning journey. Like today, we're going to have 1 hour and a half. This is our community cafe structure. But since we're going to start the learning journey, probably the community cafe is going to come according to the needs that we're going to have as a group, as a team. And at the same time, pay attention, because when we have the learning journey, it's going to be 3 hours long. So I know people from Stuttgart is going to have a lot of like coffee. I'm not sure if it's possible to drink a little bit of coffee. And then we have the challenges because it's going to be very late. But this is the main challenge we have when we have this globalized team, where we have to have Australia to our Latin America and up and north and south continents, which we need to schedule and balance the same way, the best way that we can manage. So thank you so much for people who is really coming in a very awkward times that is going to be struggling, but at the same time it's being very worth it to have all this presence all together. And then you're going to see time to time, if you have any questions, we have our WhatsApp group. If any of you are not in our WhatsApp group, please let me know in the chat and send me there, because anytime we have the messages sent in email, we're going to try to emphasize through WhatsApp, because we do know that we have so many things going on at the same time. We have very good care for this project, but we have many other different projects also that we need to run on the side. So we're just going to try to make it a little informal in our WhatsApp group, just to make some notes and make sure that everybody's on pace. And then on the email, we're going to be sending the major documents and everything. That was also some of the requests we have from some of you. So hopefully anything you have, and you have suggestions regarding like what Marcelo said, the community cafe is going to be an open space. But if we need a community cafe for some different aspects that we are raising the needs during the journey, we can set up the time and manage, and maybe we can set up a different schedule so we can put and fit everything. But we're going to try to respect to have a meeting every 2 weeks. So at this moment, we can emphasize and put our energy on that. Okay. Thank you so much. Robert?
I think we've just about hit time. Just to let you know that Michelle and Marcelo really wanted me to play this today. This is my first qualification was as a musician, as a classical guitarist, and my repertoire is all Spanish and Brazilian music. But it's actually 7:30 in the morning here now. It's very early. So this is a handmade guitar made by a luthier in Queensland in Australia. It's my second best friend. But I don't want to wake up my family. So what I've done is I've chosen a piece of music from one of my favorite guitarists that I wanted to play for you as we close out. This guy's Jesse Cook. He's flamenco guitarist.
But he promised us the next time in next meeting, then he's gonna talk with the family, and then he's gonna try to play live for us.
That's right. So it's in future, because we finish later, everybody will be up. So.
Song called Breathing Below Surface.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's almost the time. So much appreciation, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. And anything, please let us know through WhatsApp. I got a lot of messages of people who like to have emails and WhatsApps, and I'll try to do everything by today, by tomorrow at the most. And then we'll be sending you the translation in Portuguese and English by the end of this week of the sense-making material, so everybody can be ready. And any suggestions of musicians and arts from your country or communities, you can see you're more than welcome. Robert will be playing for us sometime. That's going to be wonderful. But if you do play any songs and any instruments, if you sing, or if you would like to share any of your talents, extra talents besides the projects, please, more than welcome to bring and offer this to this space. Thank you so much.
I'd like to suggest that we all take turns to choose a piece of music to open each session.
Oh, that will be wonderful. Hola, Sonia can help me out with that too. So please send us in the group if you do have already. Whoever would like to be in the next one, bring it. Oh yes, children are more than welcome also, Kendra. So please bring at the end when we have some art. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night
pessoal.
and day. Tchau, tchau. E a gente se encontra.
Tchau.
Grata, grata.
Tchau.
Ciao, ciao. Marconi, is it okay if I keep it on this link for a while?